K-pop, Korean dramas, cosmetics, and films are hard to miss these days. When I traveled to South Korea, I discovered how its pop culture became a global sensation from a local obsession. And I had to figure out, how did the Hallyu Wave become such a global hit in so little time? Hallyu translates to Korean in Chinese. It's a name that Chinese media began to use first and now has become a common reference to the aspirational value and universal success of Korean cultural exports.
Like right now, I feel like I'm gonna cry if I see them because these boys are so much to me.
I know.
Or to all of us.
Stay with me on this case study of a nation's unique cultural identity strengthening its global identity. Consider this: Squid Game, the most watched Korean series on Netflix. It garnered 1.65 billion viewing hours worldwide. That means the amount of time that people watch Squid Games for added up to 190 years. Parasite, directed by Bong Joon-ho, became the first foreign language film to win the Best Picture Oscar. K-pop bands like BTS and Blackpink are incredibly popular among Gen Z. This generation has fueled the Korean cultural boom, which I'll delve into later in the video. How has the South Korea converted its music, fashion, skincare, and audiovisual entertainment into a major global revenue source? How has success of this wave helped the South Korea? This country offers immersive tourist experiences in 3 major destinations: the capital, Seoul, the economic center and the second biggest city, Busan, and its largest island, the picturesque Jeju Island. You can find out all that you can do in these places in detail on my channel. For now, let's find out how deeply Korea's modern cultural exports matter.
Because I had really a bad time in my life, and I listened to their songs, and they showed me that there's a rainbow behind all those clouds and everything.
I can just relate so much to it, and sometimes I so sad and I'm touched.
South Korea's cultural influence is massive. It's big enough to stress out its mercurial neighbor, the dictator Kim Jong-un. In June 2024, he got a 22-year-old man assassinated for listening to K-pop and watching Korean films. Such extreme reactions to music and movies is not alien to South Korea either. Korea has historically treated music, arts, and cinema as powerful tools of building influence. South Korea's government, then a dictatorship under Park Chung-hee, banned over 200 Western songs, including Bob Dylan's Blowing in the Wind. South Korea was a dictatorship until 1997, with strict censorship on films, TV, and music. Once the country became a democracy, it threw censorship out the window. Instead, it liberated its filmmakers, writers, musicians, and singers. Keen to create creative work as an export, the government backed auditoriums, film shooting facilities, and even opened departments in universities to nurture music and movies. 25 years since, the results are there for all of us to see. First came the movies. South Korean films like Old Boy by Park Chan-wook and Silence by Hwang Dong-hyuk had won awards and audiences in Western countries and across Asia. Their TV shows began to work wonders with Chinese audiences, a major market. Then came the internet revolution in this country. According to Statistica, 97% of South Korea's population used the internet between 2000 and 2022. This changed the game for industries like gaming design and online retail, especially fashion. It also opened the floodgates for posting music and displaying talent online like on YouTube. A video by Psy called Gangnam Style was the first music video ever to hit 1 billion views on YouTube. The interest in Korean content continued to grow.
You know, if you don't understand the language, you're like, oh, this is catchy, like, oh, I'm dancing to it, or it makes me emotional, I want to cry.
But it literally exploded with the surge in OTT platforms. To ensure that fresh and consistently good content was made for their platforms, companies like Netflix and Prime Video began to seek out South Korean web series, particularly K-dramas. Netflix hit gold in South Korea. It's hard to list all the great Korean dramas as there are so many, But recent ones like Queen of Tears, The Glory, The World of the Married, and Hierarchy have got millions of viewing hours on streaming. The promise of its stories are deep enough for Netflix to have invested in 9 sound stages and studio facilities in this country in 2021. For those that aren't familiar with South Korean dramas, it's almost impossible to miss. K-pop bands have surpassed many American and Western icons in popularity. Take the boy band BTS. Its song Dynamite has crossed 1 billion streams on Spotify. They made it to the UN General Assembly. Girl bands like Blackpink have massive fan bases worldwide. In fact, the 1 billion mark has become a common benchmark for South Korea's top K-pop bands. Blackpink crossed 1.8 billion views on their debut track Boomaya on YouTube. The mind-boggling success of these bands is the result of elaborate planning and investment from an early stage. Korean music companies like the SM Music groom young talent from their early teens, meticulously curating bands. Their public images are strictly managed, with performances planned and rehearsed in advance. Talent is scouted through high school contests, televised talent hunts in various countries, and street performers. For example, Indian girls Sriya Lenka and Arya joined K-pop girl bands through online auditions. Besides the music, movies, and TV, there's South Korean cosmetics and skincare products. Glass skin, as in spotless and clear fair skin, is chased by many, with brands like Laneige, The Face Shop, and Innisfree giving leading global cosmetics brands tough competition. Korean food like gimbap and tteokbokki are delicious alternatives to standard Chinese or Japanese cuisine. I've taken a food tour of South Korea's popular street food in Myeongdong, Seoul, which is a feast for the senses. You can watch the best street food markets to explore in this city on my video. Coming back to South Korea's cultural boom, President Barack Obama referred to the Hallyu Wave when he toured this country in 2012. Ever since, it's grown in scope and size, making the products of this culture household names across the globe. It is important to know who is consuming Korean content so often and at such large volumes. Who is the Hallyu Wave catering to? Who loves to groove to the K-pop and binge on K-dramas? The answer lies in the youngest generation with sizable purchasing power, Gen Z. Gen Z are the people born between 1997 and 2012. They make up for 30% of global population and will take up more than 27% of global workforce by 2025. This generation tends to be digital natives, and many tend to be inclined towards independent livelihoods. When they grew up watching content, the Hallyu Wave steadily picked up steam. This generation faces a set of unprecedented problems: student debt, uncertain job prospects, growing living costs, and a disconnect with politics. They are very active on social media, as they are the future income generators. Brands and entertainment focus on their preferences. This is the gap that South Korean content is filling so effectively. Take, for example, the band churning factory, SM Entertainment. They have innovated to find ways that keep the fans of their bands connected with their icons 24/7. It uses holograms, high-tech displays for stage acts, and online engagement like virtual avatars and simulated gamescapes for their singing talent. These are impressive ways to do this, but also a little disorienting. K-drama and Korean films have evolved to accommodate things that dominate people's lives today. Parasite, Boon Joon-ho's film that became the only non-English film movie to win a Best Film Oscar, is a tragicomic take on Korea's income inequality and rising poverty. Korean web series have built storylines around student debt, school bullying, class divide, workplace romance, and unemployment in resident dramas. The other unique factor that sets them apart is emotional realism. More than 90% of writers of K-drama are women, so their stories appeal to female audiences. Another big Korean win for women are Korean skincare products. These offer quality skincare products at affordable prices, and build an aspiration towards an androgynous, near-perfect beauty standard. But this unrealistic beauty standard has major downsides. There is rejection of glass skin on social media because it emphasizes whitening and beauty at extreme levels. South Korea has the largest number of cosmetic surgeries in the world, with K-pop stars stating that they're proud of their surgeries. This creates an artificial standard of beauty and wellness, which affects normal people. South Korea's determined focus to make their pop culture a major global export has definitely enhanced the country's soft power. But the fallout of this emphasis on perfection has created structural problems in their society. Between 2023 and 2024, 4 K-pop stars have found dead, and local media call these deaths as suicides. The pressure to manage perfect public image, ageless skin, and physique, and perform at their optimal have added tremendous stress to the lives of these young super achievers. These suicides point to a larger trend. South Korea has the largest number of suicide in the OECD, but most don't get reported officially. This points to a growing, unhealthy trend of performance stress and depression. It is one of the most depressed countries in the world. A developed nation on the upswing with great potential for everyone to grow should have done better on this front. But South Korean society is showing signs of structural problems. The birth rate is diminishing here. The personal debt problem remains a constant challenge, something that YouTubers and authors have pointed out. Kids are trained to achieve perfect scores or nothing from ages as young as 7. While South Korean films, shows, and music keep doing well, these trends show that pressure on young people has to ease off. South Korea's miracle success within 5 decades is fascinating, but its people are suffering from a culture of extremes. If this country wants to keep marching forward, it has to make its society easier to live in. Until then, the Korean wave will entertain us, even if it hurts some people in the process.